A very good morning and welcome to this morning edition of Yes 101 Visual Radio. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Kenza Farooq.
And I'm Ditmini De Silva.
Newsfirst headline.
In local news, PUCSL to discuss electricity tariff amendment proposal. Deadline to call for bids for the sale of Sri Lankan Airlines extended again. Proposal to transfer Mattal Airport operations to private companies to the cabinet next week. In News Overseas, UN says 1/4 of Gaza's people one step away from famine. And in cricket, Hemp Adams to take over as Bangladesh batting and bowling coaches.
Now, taking a look at your top local stories for this morning, the Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka is due to convene today to reach a final decision regarding the revised electricity tariff amendment proposal presented by the Ceylon Electricity Board. The PUCSL says it will take into account the opinions and suggestions presented by various factions. The Sectoral Oversight Committee on Alleviating the Impact of the Economic Crisis recently recommended to the PUCSL that the current electricity tariff should be reduced by at least over 20%. Speaking in Parliament recently, Minister of Power and Energy Kanchana Wijesekara said the CEB proposed to reduce the electricity tariff by the same percentage that was increased last October.
Now moving on to more local news. The deadline to call for bids from local and foreign investors for the sale of Sri Lankan Airlines was extended for the 5th time. Now, the Ministry of Ports, Shipping and Aviation says the deadline was extended until the 6th of March. Bids were called from local and foreign investors for the sale of Sri Lankan Airlines last December, and the deadline was extended on 4 occasions previously. Several Sri Lankan Airlines flights were cancelled in recent days, including 3 Sri Lankan Airlines flights which were cancelled yesterday as well.
The Ministry of Ports, Shipping and Aviation says the proposal to transfer the operations of the Mattal International Airport to 2 private companies will be directed to the Cabinet next week. Ministry Secretary KDS Ruvachandra says a Russian and Indian company are due to carry out its operations jointly. He adds that an agreement was reached following several successful discussions with the management of the 2 companies. Accordingly, planes are placed to hand over operations of the Mattal International Airport to a joint Russian-Indian company and for the Sri Lankan government to receive a share of the profit.
International news.
A senior UN aid official told the Security Council that at least 576,000 people in the Gaza Strip, which is 1/4 of the population, are one step away from famine, warning that widespread famine could be almost inevitable without action. Now, Coordination Director of the UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, Ramesh Rajasingham, said, quote, "Very little will be possible while hostilities continue and while there is a risk that they will spread into the overcrowded areas in the south of Gaza. We therefore reiterate our call for a ceasefire," unquote. He told the Security Council 1 in 6 children under age 2 in northern Gaza suffers from acute malnutrition and wasting, and practically all the 2.3 million people in the Palestinian enclave rely on woefully inadequate food aid to survive.
Sports news.
Now, finally, in your sports news, the BCB has appointed David Hemp and Andre Adams as the new batting and bowling coach on 2-year contracts. They will start from next month's home series against Sri Lanka. Hemp, the country cricket giant who played at 24 ODIs for Bermuda, was the team's batting coach during their tour of New Zealand last year. He had joined the BCB in May 2023 as the high-performance head coach before this promotion to the senior side.
And that's a wrap of this edition of Yes 101's Visual Radio. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Ditmini De Silva.
And I'm Kenza Farooq.
Thank you.